This person stole my beat. They recopied it. I know for a fact. It's a Russian sample that nobody else has. There's no way they found it. Dude, that's the same beat, bro. I was like, yo, that is the same. It sounds almost the same. Drums are a little different. Sounds the same to me.
You're a producer or a loop maker or something. Someone steals something from you. They release it. It's successful. You know that you're owed money. You're owed equity. Mm-hmm. What's the first step? What would you advise that they do?
Stack your evidence.
Stolen loops and samples being used by producers. And there are so many different directions that this conversation could go in. But what you specifically, well, I'll let you summarize it. What you were specifically talking about was what? What was an example? And it's something that you're dealing with on the publishing side.
Dude, I'm actually dealing with this situation not once, not twice, not 3 times. I think 4 or 5 literally different cases, different songs. And I'm not talking about small songs, man. I'm talking about monster size songs. And I'm going to be extremely transparent here, man. All these issues are coming from one place right now. Now, I'm not saying there's not other issues elsewhere, but what I'm dealing with right now is 100% and strictly with India. And the reason why is because, and this is what I need everybody to understand, because I'm learning more as I go, because I'm not from India and I don't fully understand, but we're actually talking to a lot of cool people out there. There are great people out there, talking to a lot of people and getting more of an understanding. So obviously their streaming rates are different, so they're making less money. They're very heavily in the film industry with songs, okay, incorporate a lot of videos and stuff like that, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into play. And what happens, and I've known this for years because we have a handful of very large songs from India, even some at 100% due to things I can't really talk about and how we ended up with that. But basically, man, these deals, and it's just getting worse and worse from what I'm seeing, is that they want to own everything 100%. So they want to do buyouts on everything.
Yeah, that's how the Indian music business works. Yes. And I hate it because I've worked with some Indian artists and it was always that. It was always, yeah, you're going to get paid this amount and it looks appealing. It might be 5 figures advance, knowing damn well they're going to make millions of dollars and take all the equity from you.
Yes. And their defense to this, and there is some truth to it, there is investments from their sides. There is the film industry. There is less streaming royalties. There's less structure. So some of what they say is true. And I actually sympathize with them. And my solution back after figuring out these problems is how can we work together where you're coming directly to our creators instead of, and I'll get into this, go to somebody there who is taking stuff from somebody, right? So, but listen, man, to be 100% clear here too, we've gotten pub on all these songs. There's been a handful we haven't because we were not brought in quick enough. And that's unfortunate. But we've gotten pub on a lot of these songs, if not all of them. So they can do it. Do they want to do it? No. Because to them, they're investing more and they're doing all these different things that they feel to be able to do that. They need to own everything. Just think of it like, I guess, some of these sync libraries are, I'm not an expert in this field, but I know with a lot of these sync libraries and sync places, they want to own everything because it's easier for them to clear. So same kind of thinking and thought process behind that, right? But to there, it's a much more of an extreme, I feel like. But what's happening, dude, just to give you the whole situation, basically, again, all different situations, all the same story. Somebody uses, gets a loop, gets a sample. They take it. They get it from, a pack. They buy it. Whatever it is. And I've talked to some of these people and their defense is, I thought when I paid $10 for the pack, I had all rights. Obviously they didn't. It clearly doesn't say that, but that's their excuse, right? But they take it, they'll end up creating a bunch of music with it. And then they sell it to these labels as, they're hired as session musicians. They're doing full out buyouts. I don't know how much they're getting. I don't know that yet, but then they're taking that money, obviously, and making money from it, but then selling rights away to things that they don't actually own. So then we come along and say, hey, you use this, and we're going down the list, and they're like, prove it. So it's like, okay, that's easy to do. So eventually, dude, they will pay. Eventually, we will get ownership back. But it's unfortunate, man, because this is how the industry there is set up. So, like, if the top people are saying to do this and it goes down, what do you expect people are going to do? So producers there, creators there are now using stuff, whether they get it off BeatStars or YouTube or anywhere, they're getting it, man, or going into Telegram chats or Discords. Like, dude, wherever they're getting these loops from, They know they're not royalty free, but in their minds, it's like, I'm going to take this and go use it to make a new work. And then I'm selling it because I know the only way this label is going to take it is if it's a buyout. And I guess being on two different sides of the world for the most part, like, people aren't going to notice, but I just think that is coming to the surface now. People are noticing. And I'll even go as far as some of these people, man, I don't even know if they're actual producers. Like, they might be buying drum kits, sound kits, like melodies, and putting everything together, piecing stuff together and saying, here's my work. When in reality, like, they own nothing or own minimal parts. So that's what we're dealing with.
I mean, this is happening all over the place. You've dealt with this in other markets, right? Like in American markets.
But the drastic difference, man, is that it's much harder, A, to go halfway across the world, but B, try to get someone to understand that they don't own something that they think they fully own, right? Most times, it's a stolen loop with the label. We talk to the label. Bro, I've gotten big songs back for people who have been stolen. It's not easy, but it happens. But it's much easier because it was a standard deal. Work for hire on the master. There's pub splits to give up. There's master points. There's money they can retroactively pay. There's all these things that can happen. But unfortunately, with the Indian market specifically, and I'm not saying this hasn't happened in other countries with buyouts, but they are notorious, dude. People from India will tell you this. They tell me this to my face. Listen, man, this is how our industry is. So I'm just repeating what they tell me. They want to do buyouts, man. So now if we have to go chase down 30, 40 different samples that were used with no clearance, but the people who bought it all did buyouts, aren't going to be happy. But that's not my problem, man. That's not my problem. My problem is our creators that work have been stolen and haven't been compensated and haven't been cleared. That's what I care about at the end of the day. I do have sympathy for people, man. You know, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a mean person, but it's like, you can either make the situation easier or you can make it harder. And I will tell you this, the majority of people are now trying to make it right, but it had to take us calling them out, talking to them, going after them, showing them evidence. Like, they didn't make it easy. So
yeah, but that's not an excuse. Oh, someone did that to me, or the industry is tough where I'm from, so I get to screw you over. That's not how that works. No one's going to accept that as a reason why they're getting robbed. You know about my situation where I release packs that are royalty free, except in the case of sync license or major placement, which means, go off and do whatever you want with my loops. But in the case that you get it placed with a major label, then just contact me and get, I put very clearly 20%. And there was a situation where a producer used my loop entirely in its entirety, put some drums over it, shopped it to, I think it got placed on an Interscope project, and it was out for years, and the guy never contacted me. And when I finally reached out to him because I found out about it, he said, oh yeah, I got the paperwork, I didn't understand it, so I just let it go. And it's like, this happens all the time. And there are a lot of different variations of this kind of practice where a lot of artists don't even know that the beats they're using have stolen loops. A lot of producers don't even know that the loops they're using are stolen. For example, there are loop makers out there, and I'm not going to say names, and you know some of them, I'll tell you off camera. They will just get a splice sample, play some additional instrumentation around the splice sample, and now it's part of their sample pack and they're selling it. And I think if they sell that to a producer who gets it placed, that producer is probably not going to be held liable. But if, and this has happened to me before, a loop and sample maker, more like a loop and sample taker, will take another producer's non-royalty free loop. This is how, like, someone sends me a Motown sample or sends me an Illmind sample that they just pitched down and says, here, this is my loop. And then I go and get it placed somewhere, and I'm cutting Motown out, I'm cutting Illmind out. I'm saying, no, there aren't any uncleared samples. This is something original that someone sent me. Then I get in trouble for that. Have you seen that happen where the producer who doesn't even know what's going on, a producer who uses a stolen loop, they don't know it's a stolen loop, do they get in trouble for that?
No, I mean, I've seen that situation happen. I wouldn't say they get in trouble, but obviously people are looking at them sideways because they've clarified there is no uncleared samples or anything in here. But then I guess that producer's responsibility to try to help to find a solution, which usually is what happens because they're pissed now because they didn't know. So their first thing to do is go right back to that person and then bringing them in. It's messy, man. Like I haven't seen that situation surprisingly as probably much as you may think. I've actually probably seen what I was talking about more. I feel like the people we're working with, at least maybe I don't know, dude. You get what I'm saying? But I feel like most people are creating their own things. They're working with reputable people, but there's absolutely no way to know. We're not there yet. I'm sure it's coming. Some type of fingerprinting audio that you can track from day one where it goes. Like,
a lot of that stuff you can just Shazam it and you get a hit.
Dude, Shazam it, Beat ID it. There's a bunch of other programs out there that have scanning capabilities. Muso is good with metadata. Maybe they're nice enough to credit somebody, put their information in somewhere. Muso's, to my knowledge, is pulling from PROs and societies as well. It's not just streaming platforms, so there's other ways. We're getting there. But my point is, man, it's just, you just don't know, dude. You have to trust people and take them for the word until somebody then goes to a musicologist and says, this is stolen. So then it's like, then you know for sure, right? And we've had to take stuff to musicologists numerous times, man. Some of these cases I was just talking about, we had to go there, and you got to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get these reports written and verbal and get them. And, you know, when you're going to a reputable musicologist, dude, that is going to hold a lot of weight. So it's worth the money, especially if you're going to get much back. So anyway.
Yeah, a lot of lawsuits hinge on the opinion of a musicologist, which I think could be problematic because a musicologist is just a lawyer who specializes in music, right?
If that's what you want to call it, sure. I think they're great people. I don't know what the term would be, but maybe that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, I mean,
work with at least.
There are. So I think for some of the more high profile sample lawsuit cases, there have been conflicting opinions based on who hires which musicologist. So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, once you get to that,
I'm not denying it. I'm sure, just like lawyers don't always get along, dude. You know what I mean? Like they could have the same degree. They could have even went to the same law school, but that doesn't mean their perspective on certain things are going to be the same. So I agree with you on that. But I do feel like with a musicologist, it will give me more clarity on these types of things. And I know that wasn't the topic at hand, but a lot of ways that we are able to prove things are stolen are through very reputable musicologists who have no dog in the fight. They're just going to tell us what they hear, and we're going to use that report. And sometimes we get reports back to say, so we don't do a verbal report, because it always goes written to verbal, or verbal to written, the other way around. Sorry. You get the verbal report, and then if you want the written full out one, then that's costs more usually. So, but it's helped us, bro. We've won a lot of cases using musicologists. As soon as they see their report, they're like, okay, let's settle this.
Yeah, because when you get to that point, then you know things are serious. So for producers, how do they protect themselves against this kind of thing happening and affecting them?
Dude, I mean, outside of, Content ID, point of upload, because, dude, unfortunately with Content ID, it's first to the race wins. And if a Content ID company is not taking care of what needs to be taken care of, like, they can allow things in that technically are not owned by the actual person who owns it. So,
like splice loops and lease beats.
There's lots of cases, man, of things. The same with the video I put out today about publishing, man. It's just like people waited around 2-3 years to register. Hey, yeah, black box, I'd be scared of that. But you also had the artist who's been claiming 100% at 2.5 years, took all your money. How are you going to go get that back? There's a lot, man, that they can do to protect themselves. Work with reputable people, make sure your beats and stuff are tagged for online consumption. I know it sucks sometimes. I'm not talking about a tag every 5 seconds, but something. But at the end of the day, dude, if you're putting something out online, whether it's BeatStars, YouTube, Instagram, Splice, like wherever, man, if someone wants to steal it, they're going to steal it. And I think that's kind of a part of the risk that comes with this job, unfortunately. I don't have all the answers. There's definitely technology companies out there, and including us, that are providing ways of finding stuff and tracking stuff down, and preventing, obviously, is the biggest thing. But I just don't think we're there yet as an industry, man. Now, I will play devil's advocate here. yes, these situations are a pain in the ass. Yes, it's a pain chasing things down. Yes, it's a pain. But at the end of the day, without the person stealing it, would that opportunity have ever happened for the producer? And that is a side I think is interesting, because then it's like, yes, you could just stop putting everything online. You're going to cut down on the amount of stuff stolen. Probably guaranteed if you have nothing out there. But you're also now cutting down on all the people who can find your stuff, use it. Yeah, maybe they rip you off, but you find out about it and now you hold all the leverage. But the unfortunate thing about that, dude, is a lot of people won't look at it as an opportunity. They'll just look at it as I got stuff stolen from me. And I agree with them.
Yeah.
But they won't know the proper steps to then take to then, go handle it. And then it is a terrible situation, because now you have somebody who stole your stuff, profiting off of it, and you're over here broke. Or maybe not broke, but you got what I'm saying?
But that's a good question. That used to happen to me, and I was reactive, and I was angry about having my work stolen. And because I was angry and reactive, that emotion overrode any sort of strategic planning. This
is what happens all the time.
Right. So then I just go to social media and try to expose the thief. What is the smarter method? If someone steals something of yours, you're a producer or a loop maker or something. Someone steals something from you. They release it. It's successful. You know that you're owed money. You're owed equity. Mm-hmm. What's the first step? What would you advise that they do?
Stack your evidence. What I tell people all the time, man, and people are like, why are you making me do this? And then like 8 months later, when this is finally all said and done, they're getting paid, or however long it is. It takes sometimes a year and a half. I've had all sorts of cases, but stack your evidence, dude. Take emotion out of it. And I am like, one thing I'm good at is this type of thing, man. I'm not good at controlling my emotions on other things. Like, we're all human, and I get why you would be mad.
Yeah.
But what I've realized, man, is working in the music industry, you want to pour your emotions into the creativity of your music, and you want to take all emotions and be cold as shit when it comes to business, because it's not personal, dude. Everyone on the other side is trying to get the better deal. And it's just unfortunately the nature of the biz. Would I like to see it change? Absolutely. But I tell producers, take all emotion out of this. Just pretend that you're speculating. Even if you're like, this is 100% facts, I know it. You're speculating, take the emotion out, write out everything in evidence. And even if you want to write out all the mean stuff you want to say to this person in a document and then delete it, do that to get it out. But stack your evidence, dude, and make it so easy to understand that I could show it to my mom, or you could show whoever's mom and say, read this. And they'll go, oh, yeah, this person did this, this, and this. Because what happens is, like you said, people are reactionary. They flip out. They make things worse. The artist or whoever it is, or the other producer, whatever it is, puts up a defense mechanism, puts up a wall, cuts off communication. Then we got to go another route. Then they're like, prove it. Show us the evidence. Instead of coming to them with a full-on evidence that you can look at and say, yo, there's no way they didn't steal my stuff. Like, look at all these things. And then you don't have to come to them and be like, you stole my stuff. You could say, hey, listen, made aware of the situation. I've done some research. Here are all the things that line up. This is why I believe, and go from there. And you'll be surprised, man. You usually will get answers from people much quicker. I learned this, dude. I'm speaking from experience, because I was handling a couple years ago a situation. And I said, you know what? We went back and forth, wasn't getting anywhere. I said, hold on. I don't think they clearly understand the evidence that we have. Put it together, send it to them. They're like, all right, next day, did the deal. Because sometimes it gets lost in the emotional back and forth and this and that, and they're not really understanding what was done. Because a lot of times the person on the other end might not be honest, or might tell half the truth, or might even forget. Sometimes these people aren't even doing it on purpose. And their teams are helping, and they're just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going off of these messages. So stack your evidence, dude. Put it together. Make sure it's clear and concise. If you hit a part where you're reading it and you're like, this shit doesn't make sense, it might not be stolen, or it might be something else going on. Make sure it makes sense to anybody who's reading it, so they understand the facts. The facts are all that matters in this situation, not how you feel.
The other thing is, too, a lot of people want to get to the bottom of things. Like, if someone steals a beat, I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to know if what they're saying is true, because no one wants to take accountability. If someone steals a beat, they're like, oh, I didn't know, or, oh, I got it from so-and-so. And they're lying. I used to want to break down what they were saying and prove that they were full of shit. And now I'm like, that's a waste of time. It's going to piss them off. It's going to put them on the defense. You know what? I'll just accept you at face value and say, all right, fine. It doesn't change the reality that you owe me something because you stole it from me. Cool. Lie to me. Tell me your cousin's girlfriend's hamster got that beat off the internet and claimed they made it and then gave it to you. I don't care where you got it from. All right. Sure, man. You're right. You had no idea that you were stealing a beat from me, even though there are tags all over it. Cool. But this is what we need to do to make this right. So now I'm more at that point when if someone steals something from me, I'm like, all right, cool. I don't care why you did it. I don't care what your excuses are.
Yeah, it happened, dude. The facts.
I don't care if you take accountability or not. You can come up with a million lies. That speaks to your character, not mine. All I want is to reach a resolution. So here's what we're going to do. And if you refuse, all right, cool. We're done talking. And then I'm just going to get it taken down.
Bro, that sounds like a very well thought out plan and approach. It's not involving emotion. It's involving the facts. It's involving with what the solution is. And if the solution isn't met, this is what we'll do.
And I'll be mad. I might text you and be like, look at this bitch ass motherfucker. But I'm not going to say it to them.
Yeah. No, there's no point, man. It's like at the end of the day, people are just going to do what they're going to do. So if it's worth your time, get your evidence together, put it together. It might not even take long. It might be a very easy case to prove. And then proceed like you did. If not, dude, and there's nothing going on with the song, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just DMCing the song and moving on with my day. Like, why would you want to make yourself stressed out over something like that to go back and forth and argue with somebody to pay $20 for a lease or whatever? If you want to, go for it. But me, it's just like I'd focus on like the bigger things and then just kind of just get rid of the other problems. And then obviously you can do the third option, just don't do anything and not care because it's technically not affecting much, but it's the ethics and the principle, dude, of taking something and not compensating you. So I get it. So I'm not saying to do that, but that is always an option too. If you don't want to even do it, because the DMCA takes time too, bro. You got to fill out reports. You got to fill out evidence. It's the same thing. So I get it, bro. It's extremely, extremely frustrating. And I tell creators this all the time. Just please don't act off an emotion. I'm going to tell you why. One quick story. I had somebody who came to me and said, yo, this person stole my beat. They recopied it. I know for a fact. It's a Russian sample that nobody else has. There's no way they found it. It's from like the 70s or 80s. Something crazy. I'm like, okay. So I listened. I'm like, dude, that's the same beat, bro. I was like, yo, that is the same. It sounds almost the same. Drums are a little different. Sounds the same to me. But then I heard a tag in it. I'm like, whose tag is that? And the producer's like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not the producer who you're saying took it. Like, what is this other tag? So we couldn't make it out. So anyhow, I find out who the other producer is, and I find out that he's a friend of a friend, connected through rest in peace, Jay Hatch. And Jay Hatch, before he passed away, connected me with somebody connected to this producer. And I got on the phone, we kind of barked at each other a little bit, and I said, dude, this is pretty clear. And then he said, let me show you something. And he showed me something, and he pulled up this Russian video with the sample in it and goes, bro, there's other people that know about this sample, and showed me the date he made it. And it was like 3 years before this other beat was even released. So it was such a huge coincidence, man, that these people used the same sample from some odd Russian video. It wasn't identical, but obviously the sample made it sound very similar, but you could tell the differences. And I showed the producer, I showed him the timestamps. And this other person didn't have to do that, man. He could have told me to go F myself and have a great day. But he ended up being a really great guy. Now we're friends, which is pretty cool. Bro, the producer was wrong. And guess what his manager had already done? Went on social media, called the producer out, called the artist out, said, you're all thieves, you're all a bunch of scumbags. And he was wrong. And he had to issue an apology later about it. Yeah. So, bro, that is the danger of going off emotion. Even when you're like, I know this person stole my beat. Prove it. Because that is what's going to happen if it A, goes to court, which it probably won't. But nobody's going to be like, oh, okay, here's some money. Like, dude, you're going to have to prove it. Even though you're pissed someone stole your shit, a lot of times people involved, like, who are going to handle these things are not even people involved with the creation of the music. So they're like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Prove that this was stolen. We'll get it taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, producer, look,
most people will.
If you make good beats and you've been in the business for long enough, you're going to get a beat stolen. You're going to get your samples stolen. You're going to get your ideas stolen. Happens to everybody, even the greatest, most wealthy, most famous producers. And instead of this conversation inspiring fear, a lot of producers will get emotional when this happens. Don't do that. The majority of these situations can get resolved in your favor.
Dude, I would almost say like 95% or more. Like we have a huge success rate on these cases, man. And some of these, like I said, like the one case that I kind of alluded to, but I didn't go into detail of it. Like it took us a year and a half, man. I literally just followed up on an email this week about the master royalty payments from a song from like 4 years ago that we took us a year and a half to get back. And that was with like a 16-page evidence report. Timestamps, people opening files, downloading them, telling me, I don't know, I've never seen those files before. Yeah. Bro, I have timestamps. Like, this is what I mean by stacking evidence, because you have to kind of like think and predict what they're going to say and then prove them wrong. Because then if you prove them wrong in their tracks, then all they can do is backpedal or do a deal. And then you got them. So it's just, I've learned all this doing it, man. It's unfortunate, but it's like, it was hard for me, bro. I still get emotional over stuff. There's sometimes I just want to hit people up and flip out on them. I'm dealing with another case. I obviously can't go into details, but parents are involved. Talked to his parents at least a half a dozen times now. We've been working on this one for a year and a half.
Jeez.
And the mom said to me, she said, Mike, can I ask you a question? I said, absolutely. She said, why are they doing this to my son? I said, got me. Because I don't know. But I said, we're here to help and we're going to help. So I hate to make this like pessimistic interview and negative. And
no, it's not pessimistic. You said you have a high success rate.
Yeah. It's going on, man. It's happening. It's unfortunately like people are so emotional and happy about the creation, which they should be, because that's where your emotion should come from.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to understand that you need to kind of take that out of the business side. Even if you're doing business with a friend, because at the end of the day, guys are both trying to get good deals. And, a lot of times friends can come up with good deals. But listen, dude, I've been in deals where people, best friends in real life, but they're fighting to get different things in a deal. And it's business at the end of the day, man.
You're not on YouTube. Where are all your videos?
Instagram, bro. That's all pretty much the only place I'm at. It goes to Facebook and like Threads and stuff, but they're all interconnected, man. But Producer Whisperer on Instagram, possibly looking into doing some type of channel on YouTube or something, man. It's I don't know if I have the time.